Hi, this is Colcam, and you're listening to Mama Sings the Blues on Radio Mama and the National Indigenous Radio Service. And it's time for the album review for this episode. So stick around for the next hour to see out the end of the show and a review of this great album.
She
was Boogie from Toward the Blues, which is the album we're looking at tonight. It's an old album. It goes way, way back. Released in 1971 by Chain. But I thought I'd do this album because it's been a long time since I've played some of this stuff, and caught up with Chain at the Melbourne Blues Fest for an interview with Matt Taylor and Phil Manning. And Matt Taylor there on vocals and harmonica. Toward the Blues, a studio album by Chain, which reached number 6 on the Kent Music Report albums chart in October 2010. It was listed in the book 100 Best Australian Albums. And the 30th anniversary edition was released in 2001, and they added an S to the word toward, so it became Towards the Blues. Track listing on the album. All the songs were written on the album by Chain, Phil Manning, Barry Harvey, Barry Sullivan, and Matt Taylor. Except there are a couple of covers on the album, which I'm not going to play, by Junior Wells and Robert Johnson. All right, let's get into next track from the album. It was released originally on vinyl, so this next track is called Judgment. Let's get into that one, and this was released on the 30th anniversary one. And we'll fire that up.
I woke the other night to the strangest sight.
Hi, this is Col Cam from Mama Sings the Blues at the Melbourne Blues Fest, and I'm with two members of Chain, Matt Taylor and Phil Manning.
G'day.
Hello.
It's picking up pretty good. Welcome, boys, to the show. It's been a long time since I've talked to either of you. I think I talked to the last time, both individually.
Oh, it's better to do it individually, but we're stuck together at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, stuck together. No, I don't.
So we'll contradict each other.
Yeah.
That's fine. Now, like, Chain, I've got to talk to you guys because we're all getting old. And Chain might not be
Apart from me.
mightn't be around for too long in the future, you know, let's say. But,
20 years.
Yeah. How long have we been going now? Like a long time?
55 years Chain's been going.
55 years.
Yeah.
68 it formed, 1968.
Yeah.
1968.
And, and I'm only the new boy, 53 years.
Yeah. But the only blues band in Australia to have a number one hit.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Only
that.
blues band.
Yeah, and that includes Muddy and everybody. We're the only blues band ever to have a number one record
with
in
Black and
Australia.
Blue.
Yeah.
You know, although the Kylie Minogue Blues Band had a couple of hits, I think.
Did they?
As well.
Yeah.
And of course there was the famous.
I don't think it went to number one.
There was the that blues band from the Delta Goodrum, was it?
Delta Goodrum, yeah. Yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting around in the green room waiting for these boys to go on and do
our
set,
thing, yeah.
do their set at the Blues Fest. Now, what's your? How do you feel about the Blues Fest in Melbourne?
Oh, love it. Yeah, it's anything that promotes the blues now, because sometimes I listen to radio and nothing touches me.
No, I agree.
It, we're beautiful souls experiencing life, and it's.
I know what you're saying.
It's not experiencing anything,
Yeah, no, I agree.
And so anything that brings humanity out, I'm all for.
Yeah. Well, let's.
And I think one of the other things that you have to bring into account with Blues Fest is the fact that Peter Noble, long-time promoter from Sydney, who eventually took over Blues Fest, he's done a magnificent job with the Byron Bay one.
Yeah.
It's just a fabulous event. And to bring it to Melbourne, and also they're doing one in Perth.
Yeah,
so,
1st of April they did one,
the fact that you've got someone like Peter who's really dedicated to the music, pushing things, it can only be good for the industry, can be great for people like Matt and myself, because if we didn't have people like Peter pushing blues music, there'd be nothing much for us to do.
Yeah.
And also we have to put out a great big thank you for community radio, because it's only community radio and the occasional ABC station that promote our type of music.
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. Yep, and let's just talk about guitars for a bit. We had a bit of a chat earlier, and I was checking out your guitars. You built your own version of a Telecaster, and you've got a new Fender Stratocaster as well, Phil.
Yeah, and as I was telling you, getting older is not sometimes the most pleasant thing on the earth. And as I've got older, I've got a little bit of arthritis in my hands, which is not surprising, because I did 8 years of classical piano before I took up guitar. And, inflicting that on your hands for as long as, probably 65 years or something now, takes its toll. And so I built a short scale Telecaster so that I can do the stretches a bit more easily. And I just bought a new Fender Japanese Junior Stratocaster. They're making them with a shorter scale. There's things you can do to keep playing, and I certainly I look at Buddy Guy. I went and saw his show tonight.
Yep.
And you watch Buddy play, and he's 86, and you think, well, shit,
87,
he's 11 years older than me, and I hope I've got that sort of energy when I get there. You know,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Even getting there would be an absolute thrill, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get there first.
Yeah, well, as I said, Chain has been a steady on the forefront of Australian blues for, as you say, a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. And there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be still out there doing it. You know?
Yeah. I remember we did the Gympie muster, and it was Chain's 30th anniversary. And then we went out to see Slim, and he says, "Here's a song I recorded 50 years ago." And we've passed Slim. We're 55 now.
Yeah, 55 years, you passed Slim.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, that's...
And you know, Toward the Blues has been permanently on release
for 55 years.
for
50 years.
What are we? For 52
52 years, yeah.
So it's probably, it would be, I reckon, getting pretty close to being the longest permanently released Australian rock.
I've got it on CD. I don't have
Yeah.
it on vinyl. I don't know if it was ever released on vinyl.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
That's what it came out on.
Yeah. I know how to see
It
it.
went gold as vinyl, then went gold again as a CD.
Yeah.
So I've got a gold record and a gold CD.
Yeah, okay.
Now it's probably gone gold as downloads, except we don't get paid for
Yeah,
it.
and no one tells us they've got it. You know?
Talking about awesome guitars, what sort of backline are you using? Are you using obviously the backline they have here? Are you? Or?
Yeah, at this show.
But what do you normally plug into?
Well, I've used Fender. I became a Fender artist in 1988.
Yeah.
A Fender Australia artist, and I've used Fender ever since.
Sponsored by Fender.
I used, semi-sponsored anyway. Yeah. I switched over to Fender in 1970 or something like that.
Yeah.
I was using a Gibson stereo.
But
then again, I had a jazz master in the Bay City Union with Matt. Fenders were always the thing. They were always groovy. Yeah. They were space age, and they looked like...
They still look good, don't they?
They still look great. The Fender Stratocaster's got to be one of the greatest, artistic designs. You know what it reminds me? It always reminds me of the old Super Constellation aircraft. The old beautiful Super Constellation with the three-tail fins and the swept-back nose. It
was a B-52 that was the Strato bomber.
That's right.
Yeah, and so that
they
was,
still use it. Is
still being
the
used.
main bomber for the US Air Force.
And that's where they got the Stratocaster from.
I didn't know that.
Same thing, because those were the first planes to go into the stratosphere. All the planes go into the stratosphere now. But in 1952, that was big deal. Yeah.
Good point.
But I think I've always said this to people. I love Gibson guitars, and they're really wonderful, and they sound fantastic, and they're great for jazz, and they're great for blues. But ultimately, you can't make a Gibson sound like a Fender, but you can make a Fender sound like a Gibson by putting pedals between them and things. And so Fenders tend to have become the choice for most of the players that play country music, blues music. Most use Fenders. The guys that play more the sort of really heavy side of rock and stuff will use Les Paul, Gibson Les Pauls, and stuff like that. But the Fender Strat and the Fender Telly basically sum it all up.
Yeah. So, are you using big heavy valve amps, or as you've got older, have you switched it? Have you downsized to the small?
Well, no, I have to use small amps because if I use big amps, Matt's harmonica has to get louder on stage, and then my amp has to get louder on stage, and then Matt's harmonica has to get louder on
The
stage.
softer we play, the better.
And
it all gets out of control.
It just gets out of control, and we hate each other at the end of the gig.
Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding, but I've recently, the last little trip that we did to Melbourne, I used one of the new Tone Master Fender Deluxes, which it's digital, but it produces an incredible amount of wattage, like 80 or 90 watts or something, but it's somehow attenuated down to the original 22 watts that the Deluxes were, and it sounds like the original ones. It's beautiful. And it's not that loud, but it gets a great tone. And that's the way it's gone in recent years, is that, you know, most guitar players are using smaller amps. Means that the band plays softer on stage. The softer you play on stage, the more it's like a rehearsal room, the more it's like you practice together, there's more communication, and of course the PA
takes over.
Is what does the work.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, whereas back in the 70s, you know, we had four boxes of 4 12s, so 16 12s for the PA, and
times have certainly changed.
you know, things have changed immensely.
Now, Phil, you've just recently done a CD, haven't you?
I did one at home. Because of COVID and lockdown, I couldn't go into a studio with drummers and bass players. So I basically played everything on it myself. Took me quite a while to do it, and it was at times a frustrating thing. But I've actually come up with a reasonably good little album. I think anyway.
That sounds good. All right, well, I think we're going to wind it up because Matt's getting ready to go.
Oh, and by the way, the album's called Out of My Shed.
Oh, Out of My Shed.
Yeah.
That's a good name for it too.
Well, it was actually, I was thinking about that thing of being really stoned, you know, where I'm really out of my head, man. I went, well, actually, I'm not out of my head. I'm actually quite sober and quite normal, but I'm doing it from my shed, so it'll be out of my shed.
Yeah, that's great. Where can people find it?
They have to go to my website, philmanning.com.au, and go to the buy. There's a little thing there on the home page that says buy.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on Mama Sings the Blues. And I'll let you get ready to go on stage.
Thanks, Colin, and a great pleasure to be on Mama Sings the Blues. And I think you must look up, you must find a recording of Georgia Lee, because if it's an Indigenous show, Georgia Lee is the beginnings of it.
It's hard digging ditches with a ball and chain. You sent me here for 10 long years. I miss my whiskey and I miss my beer. You broke my head 'cause I spat on a guy. Sure don't make me no better, it just made me high. Why did you beat me and try to break me, and still I spit at you? You'll never break my spirit, even when my body's black and blue.
Yeah, Chain there with a Black and Blue, and that was released on the original album, but it was also released as two versions of the 30th anniversary edition, released in 2001. There was a single version and there was the original album version as well on that album. Alright, I'm going to play the last song here from the album review, and this one is on the 2001, the 30th anniversary. This song wasn't on the original album, Toward the Blues. This one's from Towards the Blues, and it's the Blow in D. Chain, Matt Taylor, and Phil Manning. Oh, sorry, I had a mental block there for a minute. Matt Taylor, Phil Manning on guitar, Matt Taylor on vocals and harmonica, and on drums Barry Harvey, on bass Barry Sullivan. And this album was originally recorded at TCS Studios in Melbourne. So let's round out the album review. We'll be back with some more blues after that. Actually, I'm going to play a double of Wyldwind. So seeing it's Two Pot Tuesday.
Lisa.
And I'm Jules.
We're Hussy Hicks.
And you're listening to Mama Sings the Blues on Radio Mama across the National Indigenous Radio Network.
I got a mouse in the house and it's driving me round the bend. I got a mouse in the house, don't you know he's no friend? Well, he's crapping in my cupboards and the smell is like the end. Well, the cat's so lazy, she can't catch that mouse. Well, she tries real hard, but that mouse is just too quick. Well, I've even tried as well with a big old stick. I got a mouse in the house, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got a mouse in the house, whoa, yeah. Well, I don't know what to do now, it's a real damn farce. I killed his wife and kids, now he's taking revenge. Well, he's scratching in the walls at 2 a.m. behind my bed. Well, I'm sure he's just trying to mess with my head. I got a mouse in the house, whoa, yeah. Well, a mouse in the house, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got a mouse in the house, and he's no friend. Well, he sets off the traps that don't get caught. Well, I've never known a mouse like this before, you know. Well, I just don't know what to do next. I got a mouse in the house, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, a mouse in the house, whoa, yeah. Well, there's a mouse in the house, he ain't no friend. Mouse in the house, whoa, yeah. Oh, a mouse in the house, whoa, yeah. Come on, Sophie, why don't you catch that mouse? That's what cats are supposed to do.
Yeah, yours truly there with my song Mouse in the House. Yeah, thanks for listening to the show. I hope you've enjoyed Chain Review and the interview with Matt Taylor and Phil Manning. Cheers, folks. Catch you next episode of Mama Sings the Blues, brought to you by Radio Mama and the National Indigenous Radio Service. Hi, this is Wyldwind. If you like my interview section of my YouTube page, please hit the subscribe button and also ring the bell, and then you'll know when the next episode is uploaded. Cheers, folks.